Unplugged Church Edition. I am Elder Stacy Whitehead, and this is my co-host, the fabulous
Evangelist Freddie Jones.
and we are back for part two with the professional opera singer, Eric Greene. And we are just going to carry this conversation, soulful conversation on, and we're just going to get into it.
Yes, Mr. Greene, you took us from 4 years old in the choir, mom, grandmom, great, all these wonderful women, sister. I would say Agnes, sister.
Oh, Sister
Teresa.
Clarice.
Clarice from the Catholic school,
Yes.
bless you.
Mm-hmm.
And now you went to high school.
Yes.
Right? The wonderful, this school is so awesome. You got to really have talent to go to the school. Okay, so
Yeah.
first of all, you had some talent,
Yeah.
all right? Then you were accepted to the Baltimore School of Arts.
Yes.
And now
Yeah,
you got your
Jean
voice.
Carter. Yeah, I met Jean Carter there.
You got
my
Jean
voice teacher.
Carter, your
Yes.
voice teacher.
Yes.
Now, how did opera get introduced to you? Tell us that story.
She in your studies you have a private lesson, which was something very different for me. I was like, what private lessons? That was on my schedule.
Okay.
You know, and so I went there at the hour that I was supposed to, and I walk in. There's a piano, a baby grand piano. She sat behind it, and she said, "Okay, stand here." I stood in the middle of the floor, and she started telling me about breathing, and talking to me about breathing and how to take the breath and. You know, and okay, and make this sound. So she pressed and say me, or whatever we did. I can't remember, but we did that. And then at the end of the lesson, or during the lesson, closer to the end, she handed me 2 pieces of music for me to learn. And the first piece was an Italian art song entitled "Se ben crudele," and then the second piece she gave me was. Um, um, was a Negro spiritual called Old Gem. And those 2 pieces I had to learn and bring it back next week. You know, that's what you're supposed to do and bring it back. But it took me a little over a month to learn them because I didn't know, you know, I didn't know how to play. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. And then and I said Sabin Crudel because I was like Sabin Crudel, you know. But after we took you know, had a diction class, Italian diction, and I realized that it was Se ben crudele. So anyway, but that's that was how I was introduced to classical music, because that's what I was introduced to first, was classical music.
Okay.
So we learned the French chanson, which is French songs, German lied, which is German art songs, and like I said, the early Italian. And so these pieces were amazing to me because I just, you know, especially the German art songs, all the poetry. So you have it in German, and then you have an English sort of poetry translation of it, poetic translation of it, and it would always talk about nature, talk about your love, the love of your life being reflected in nature. So all of these things, I don't, who knew? I was like a little bit of a romantic, and that thing really struck a chord with me. And then it reminded me of hymns, some of those chords that were in the German songs reminded me of like singing a hymn in church, you know. And but it makes sense because it's their soul music,
Right.
you know, in a way,
Right.
you know. Like Schubert and Schumann and Liszt or Brahms. That's what I want to say, not Liszt, but Brahms and these composers like that, Mahler. They were all so soulful, you know. Because they were speaking about matters of the heart, you know, and you know, so these things were, you know, it made sense. I could connect with it, right? I could connect with, you know, Du bist bei mir, or what was the other one? Andi Musik. Andi Musik was this one art song I just loved. And because it was no different from that than singing Amazing Grace to me, in the feeling that you would give, you know. And did I know what I was singing? No, not everything. No, because I didn't know how to translate. Well, I didn't speak the language. And then you know, so I didn't know it, but I could, what I heard, the way the chords made me feel is what I gave, and that what I put into that music, and I did that for a while until I became more serious, and some of that didn't happen until college, which we'll go to later, but in high school, that's how I was introduced to it, classical music. Then after that, we were given, we had opera scenes And then we started doing opera scenes, and then that was when I saw, we were putting on costumes and acting like a character and getting into the characterization of what we were singing. All of that began to more and more pull me into it, and have me to whet my desire, for it. And then we were asked, we were invited, the Chamber Opera Group at the Baltimore School for the Arts was invited to be a part of the chorus of Baltimore Opera's production of Verdi's Otello, which is like Shakespeare's Othello, basically, but it's in Italian, and it's the same story about a Moor who married this white lady, Desdemona, and he kills her because he thinks she's cheated on him with his best friend, Iago. So anyway, that whole story was that. But I was in the chorus of that, and I was on this big stage at the Baltimore Lyric with costume on, costume makeup, and I was up there, this big orchestra down in front of me, this huge sound the chorus is making, and all of this pandemonium going on stage, and I'm hid behind this rock, in the tenor, the Otello is standing above me on a lift on an elevated part of the stage back there, and he's singing over me. So, and I'm down there, and I'm looking at an audience. I can't see anyone's faces because it's dark. And I'm like, no one out there knows this is me, Eric. Like, I'm someone else. I'm this villager. And that kind of like really it inspired me. I was like, oh, like, this is so great. I want to do this. So it was amazing that is what really shook me out of my immature, almost about to be kicked out of the Baltimore School for the Arts. Yeah, because I had that moment that changed me because of, I had direction, and I was working on my voice, and what was coming out was very different from what had been coming out before.
Okay.
It wasn't like what it is now. It wasn't like what it was in college, but it was something very different from what I was singing when I first came to the School for the Arts. So by the time my 11th grade year came, I was an honor roll student.
Wow. You made a choice.
I made a choice. And that choice was given, that understanding of a choice being made was given to me way back in second grade by Miss Sister Clarice.
By a woman.
Yeah.
By a woman, exactly.
Yes, by a woman. So it's amazing. It's amazing to to see how these pearls, these string of pearls connect and allows you to get another pearl, another pearl, another pearl. And before you know it, you have a whole expensive necklace wrapped around you that you so that was amazing. So that's how I was introduced to classical music, then opera, and then after high school. But before, let me highlight another woman. Our choral assistant director was Margaret Lindsay Johnson, and she's now asleep as well. And she was another one who pulled me up before I was about to get kicked out. She said, "You are about to get kicked out of this school, and you have a talent, and so you might be able to do something, but you're acting like a donkey," she said. And she said it, and when she said a donkey, and she did it like, what I want to say, but but the way she looked at me, I knew what she was saying, but not that was the part that impacted me, but I'm just saying her words, she pulled me up on that, and that got me attention, and so that was also a push in the direction to make the choice to change, and I have many teachers at Baltimore School of the Arts. My English teacher, Ruth Gladney, my social studies teacher, Miss Geit, Miss Leocadio, U.S. History. I mean, just the women were I just were always surrounded by strong, amazing women, and I have to say that I think that was my preparation. That was my training ground for my next step, which my next step was going to be living in New York by myself, going to Juilliard, getting into Juilliard, going there, matriculating for 6 years, then living in the city for another 6 after that. So staying there for 12 years, lived in New York City. So I mean, but it was those situations in high school.
Mhm.
And of course, we can go all the way back there in
Right,
elementary,
right,
but
right, right.
in high school, middle school, high school,
Mhm.
then I get here to college. I'm ready for college in a
It
way.
prepared
To
you.
prepare me for what that responsibility was, because that was a
Mm.
big responsibility. You know, just the you know, this is not a woman who said these words to me, but it was a man who said this. Was my principal in middle school, who said learning is a self-imposed responsibility. And to understand what that really meant,
Right.
I figured out what that meant in college when I was failing in my English history class in my writing. I was presenting it, and I kept getting this bad. I kept getting D's, and I kept figuring out why. And
You
he
said
said,
this
"Well,
was in college?
yeah."
Wow.
He said, where's your thesis statement?" He said, "You don't have a thesis statement." And I was like, "A thesis statement, thesis statement." I was like, "Oh, that started to ring bells," but I was like, "I don't know what a thesis statement is, but I know I've heard this before." But it was during the time when I was cutting up in class.
Right, right, right.
In ninth grade, when Miss Gladney was teaching about thesis statements that I forgot. But but then Mr. Campbell's words came back to me to say, learning is a self-imposed responsibility.
Right.
Go and sort it out. Go and
Right.
search it out for yourself.
Right.
I did that. Went back home, got my compositions in grammar, opened up that book, found that page that talked about thesis statements, and figured it out, and went on and passed that.
Oh wow.
You know, so it's just. And then I met another woman who was my voice teacher at Juilliard, who was impactful to me. It was Beverly Johnson was my voice teacher there. But I never left Miss Carter. I always would come back home and study with her. But Miss Johnson, she was helpful, and and she had what she said to me were things like, Eric, you're going to have a career. You're going to have a career. So just to hear her say that to me, I mean, out of everything else, out of everything else that she did, I mean, but could have been wrong or whatever. It doesn't matter. But for her to say that to me, and it was is another person in a place that was supposed to be the top of the top,
Right.
and then she is taught different ones who were the top of the top. Than her not being a person of color, but to be to another race, and to get that approval to a young black kid, it was a lot. It was a lot, right? So again, so I have to raise her name up
Because
women
women
of that.
influence, they come in all shapes,
Air
sizes,
size and
colors,
colors.
cultures.
That's
So,
right. It doesn't matter, right?
religions,
Exactly. And the thing of it is that you can't just turn your nose or turn your back on people just because they don't believe the same thing you believe.
Exactly.
And that's what I've learned traveling.
Well, yeah, I can imagine.
That's what I've learned
Oh my God,
traveling.
how many countries have you?
I don't even know. You start me on that, you'll get me in trouble down there because I don't know. But
Wow,
I've been
it's been a
Germany,
lot.
France, many places in Germany, many cities in Germany, in France, and Spain, and England, in Italy, Australia. Yeah. So just yeah. So but I'm grateful for the experiences that God has allowed me to have. And I know it's because of the upbringing that I got. And it starts all the way back to my grandmother, great-grandmother, Mother Neal.
Yes.
It goes all the way back there. Mother
Those,
Neal,
those are the
those three. Those three.
That's the board. That's the advisory board here.
They were something. I mean, just to get to understand the foundation, the faith, because faith is your foundation. I mean, again, so since we are this is a church for we can talk. So first you have to believe that He is, and then that He's a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. So it's like you gotta. So faith is the real foundation that was really given to me, because I had to have faith. And not just my God, not just in what God, not just my God, but then I had to have faith in what He gave me.
That's right.
My gift. Then I had to have faith in the ability that was in me.
So true.
And all of those things were influenced and brought about and given from the women, different women that I renamed, and certain things they said, all influenced that. But to go back to what you were saying about the traveling, is that the travel with these particular women and the things like that. I've met women directors, women conductors who said things to me and have given me tidbits to help me improve as a singer. Coaches, women coaches. So these women, you know, the
And it took
know-how.
nothing from your man.
No, it didn't take anything from my
You
man.
are married, you
Yeah,
have 3 children,
yeah,
Right.
nothing from your
yeah.
man.
No, no, no. It's not. It's just
Exactly.
it added. You
It
know, it
adds.
added.
That's
And they were them, and they were themselves. They didn't come
Mhm.
out. They didn't try. I don't know how they were feeling, but they felt like, well, I need to be less less emotional because I'm a woman and I don't, you know, I need to be more man. Like, I don't know whether they were going
Right.
through that, but all I know is that they presented themselves to me,
Right.
and they said a certain thing to me. They gave me instruction. They gave me critiques, and those things help make me better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I have to before we I do want to spend a little bit of time speaking about this one woman,
Okay.
other than the first two women. I first want to speak about my mom. So my mom was a very strong woman
Right.
to raise, to you know, to not have my father
Right.
help her to help raise me, but she was a strong woman because my mom decided to leave. My mom was worked at the Department of Education for 39 years, and decided to leave. No, oh no, sorry, I'm sorry, 25 years. She retired early, left there early to start another whole business and to become an electrologist. And she did that for another 27 years, or a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And she could have been a little bit longer, but she did that and started a whole new career, started her own business, stepped out on faith and did that, right? You know? So to see that and see her do that, my mom has impressed me so many times. And now my mom is sight impaired, and she still has that love for God, that faith that's seems to be unmovable. The love and kindness and gentleness, even going through a time that is very difficult. I mean, you go all your life being able to see, and now it's been taken away from you. You can't see anymore. And so it's and to see her the grace that she walks with.
Absolutely. Very
Still resilient.
Yeah, still resilient. Yeah. So you know, I mean,
It's
what can I say?
inspiring.
What can I do?
You-
I got to
you're
follow
just
that.
You
I
have
follow
to.
that.
You have to. You have to.
And then I definitely want, and I say, let's say I saved the best for last.
Because I was going to
don't want to be in a doghouse. Right?
Exactly.
So I have to highlight my amazing wife.
Yes.
My wife is an entrepreneur. My wife is a business owner, and she's a mother of 3. She is she's also her hobby is bodybuilding, so she does bikini bodybuilding. And so
Stacy was right there, honey.
yeah. So it's
She still got the muscles.
yeah. So you know the commitment that it takes. I mean, it's like a second job going to the gym.
Oh yes,
You know? So she has 2 careers.
That's a
You
lot
know,
of
and
work.
yeah. So I mean, so it's take
And then you're off in all these countries
Yeah.
while she's at home.
Yes.
With the
this
children.
business and
the
this
kids.
house.
Yes, and the children.
and
Yeah,
the children.
yeah. So and even with the help that we still have, and we have women surrounding and
Support.
helping, but still, it's nothing like having, like she always says, 2 parents there and things like that. But I have to just say she is also an amazing woman. She's a PhD, and you know, and all of these things, of course, happen within our marriage. So I know that I'm a part of. I mean, I know why she has flourished as much as she has is because the ground in which she is planted in is fertile.
All right. All right.
I'm gonna give myself a little hit in the back a little bit. but again, is the but the reason, but I toot my horn. My boast is not in me. My boast is in the Lord. But also, and the reason I say the Lord is because of these women.
You know how to
that has given.
They have sown
This is
so
what
much.
they have
into your
sown me,
life.
and I saw them. I saw what they lacked. I saw what they needed. I saw what they did, and I saw what they did with the lack.
All right.
You know,
All right.
and I said I would not. I didn't want to be a part of the lack.
Absolutely.
When I got to be a husband. So it was just, you know, again, so that's where that's why I set myself in the back, not my real back, but it's the back of all these women that early women, these early women we talk about early in life. So into my life and
absolutely.
foundation of
So
faith.
do you think you're going to continue traveling as much because
Absolutely.
you got your children?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You really, you know,
That's not up for debate.
That's not for debate. Why is it not up for debate? Because that's my calling. family. That's my
Absolutely.
gift.
Okay.
That's my
Yeah.
responsibility.
Well, you know, it's funny you say
Yeah.
that because I wanted
that's
to
my
ask how
approach.
ministry
That's my approach. That's my
Yeah.
And
approach.
that's your profession.
goes
as
with
No,
well.
that,
yes,
though.
my profession, but it's also my ministry. I
Yes.
have to,
Okay.
and that's the way
Okay.
I look at it. I don't look at
Right.
it just as a
Profession.
profession.
Okay. That's
Because I
okay.
know when I walk into a room, I
Mhm.
change the atmosphere.
That's
Oh,
so
okay.
true.
You know
I
what I
see
mean?
what you
And when
mean.
I walk in, like I don't just walk in unprepared. I have
Mhm.
prepared at home. I prayed. I've
Right.
meditated. I've read my scripture. I'm
Mhm.
fortified. I'm
Absolutely.
Shielded.
you know,
Armored up,
shielded, I'm
honey.
armored up so I can go and stand and
Yes,
deliver because
yes.
I feel
And
as though,
deliver.
right, and what if people are out there, you know, the 3,000, 4,000
Yes.
people that are set out in the audience, or
Right.
sometimes 15,000,
Wow.
60,000 has been
Wow.
at times, that are sitting listening,
Not
they
no
are
20.
needed.
Not no 20-seat church.
No,
Okay.
yeah, but it's okay. That was you. Stop
Excuse
it.
me.
Stop
My
it.
church.
It's
I'm
okay.
just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
but you know, but the demand is bigger.
Because you're saying it's thousands
Yes,
of people
right.
that you have
That
to
to minister to, that are
minister. You
pulling,
see that?
they're saying, there's something that I need. I don't know what I need.
Right.
I'm not sure what it
Right.
is I need, but
Right.
I know that after when you come on the stage and you sing,
It makes a difference.
I felt something different. And I've had people come to me and say those kind of things to me.
That's
And
awesome.
that have no idea about church or God. I mean, that kind of, or
Right.
the way we
Exactly.
were
But
raised,
it's
that come from another background,
Yeah.
right.
culture.
Different
Right.
countries. Yeah,
Right.
definitely different
Yes.
Because
cultures.
God is
Yeah.
God at the end of the day. And as long as you allow God to be God inside of you,
Absolutely.
that's what's making the difference. And that's what they feel. And that's
Yes.
awesome.
And
That's
that's
an
what I
awesome
want. I mean, that's
testament.
honestly, that's what
That's
I
an
would
awesome
desire.
testament.
And where did I see that example? I saw it in Mother Neal. I saw it in my grandmother. I
Yes.
watched it in my great grandmother.
Right.
Then I can go on to the different other saints that were in that church
Right.
before I even hit a Sister Clarice. So when I hit her, she just made all of those voices bigger.
Right. Right.
That's
And then
good.
and then the rest of it, then to be able to, then my foundation and understanding what the requirements are in church and what God requires of us, and the diligence and the faithfulness that we have to do. Then by the time I met a Miss Carter, I was able to bring what I learned about God and put it on to the demands that music is, the ministry of music.
Wow.
You know,
That's
and then to take, so
that's
I
cool.
mean,
And you don't have to go
I
out.
can link. Oh yeah,
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I can tell you how I'm telling you when I say that I've thought about this, and this is like I'm grateful. Oftentimes I fall into a place of where I just can't stop saying thank you to God for
That's good.
my background, how He put it all together.
Right.
Because
It
it was
always works out in the end.
Yeah,
I tell everybody that. I have friends who
that
are,
almost got me.
but I have
So,
friends that are at a place of like, I don't know why this is happening,
Yeah.
or this, or
Yes.
this person said this to me. Or I'm like, it's
Well,
all works for your
I gotta
good.
say, all things work
All
together.
things.
Yeah,
So
the good, the bad, the
even
ugly.
that
Yeah,
place where you're uncomfortable,
yeah.
you're unsure, your son might be mischievous, that's not the end of his story. That's
No.
just a
Right.
chapter
Yes.
in this book.
Yes.
So I am so grateful that you came because someone needs to hear that. And if
Yeah.
you could say that something to encourage
Mm.
a young man, young woman,
Yeah.
someone that's aspiring that
Yeah.
might, or their child might be a little
Mhm.
mischievous. I, of course, be patient, keep praying. But
right.
what from your life
Yeah.
and with you, what could you say to that parent or that child, or just something to
Yes.
encourage the people with?
Yes, I would just say if you have any dream, if you have I'll use it as a dream. If you have a dream, I would say with that dream begin. It's to the young person that's listening, or who may hear about it, or a parent that may want to share it with that young person. Whatever dream you have, attach goals to the dream.
Yes.
So and make sure make them, and they could be small goals at the beginning, just so you can get the confidence and get the security that I can reach a goal.
Absolutely.
And then go to the next goal, and
Mhm.
maybe make it a little bit further, make it a little bit bigger, and excuse me, and put the demand on yourself, because it's your responsibility. Make it be self-imposed, until and after you get a hold of that and really understand what that is, then begin to know. I have to say it my way, and my way is that get to know your creator, get to know the gift giver, and know that everything that the gift giver gave you, and he put it all inside the gift. Everything you need is in your gift. Your encouragement, that when you're down, you don't go back and tap into that gift. Go back and tap into your purpose. And in that purpose, there is something in it. You know, there is something in it that will heal. There's something in it that will inspire. There's something in it that will encourage. There's something in it that will brighten up, make it, make your day brighter. All of those things, it's all there. It's all inside the gift. And to that child is, the parents like, I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what to do with her. As many experiences as you can give them. And some of you say, well, I don't have the money. It's not about money. It's they're free things to go and get involved in with, introduce them to the arts. I would say the arts, because that's something, that's a mystery. Like how do you get that? Why is it that I have a voice? Who gave me the voice? And my father can say, well, I sang, so that's why you sing. My mom can sing. My aunts sing. I have singing aunts on both sides of my family. My grandmother sang. Where did it come from? God decided to give it. So it's a mystery on what, dancing, painting, visual art, acting. All of those are the arts. Those are expressions that are bigger than what we deal with every day. And it's a little bit loftier. It's a little bit more mysterious and secret and spiritual. I think the arts are very spiritual.
Because so often we think we have to raise our Black boys to be athletes.
But it's that's right.
Gifts.
That's good too.
It's a gift, but this is another gift.
It's another gift.
And sometimes some of us forego these gifts because people did not take the time to tap into them.
Exactly. And so I would say that's why I would say, and definitely, of course, like as Evangelist Freddie said, prayer. I mean, always, we're going to pray and you pray over them. But yes, praying together, praying when they don't know you're praying, all that kind of stuff. But definitely ask God, these women who are saying, I don't have the support of a man. Ask God to lead you to the next thing for that person. Who do I have here? Who did you give me in this child? Who is this child? What is this child's purpose? What is the path that I should lead them on? And I guarantee you, it will become clear. It will become clear.
And let them be them. Because so often we want our kids to be.
We want right. Well, we want
them to be.
I've always wanted to be this. You're gonna do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Oh, tell them. Are you able to tell them where you're gonna be? Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. So this is really exciting. I mean, this is future. So in January 20th. I'll make my Carnegie Hall debut. I'll be singing "The Ordering of Moses" by R. Nathaniel Dett.
Wow.
Who's a Black composer.
Awesome.
And then April 10th is opening night at the Met, and I'll be singing in Terrence Blass. No, in New York.
Oh, in New York.
Oh, New York.
What she say, Philly?
Yeah, I did say because I was thinking Philly. Oh,
but they used to call that the old Met. They used to call that the old Met.
It's reopened.
Yes,
they redid it.
That's right. Represent.
Yeah. So, but April 10th through like June, I think it's on metopera.org. You can go and I'll be in the opera called Champion, and Terrence Blanchard is the composer.
Yes,
another Black composer. He's a jazz trumpet player as well.
It's gonna be awesome, guys. I'm gonna be there. Hope you can be there too.
So that's just two things.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Again, this is Eric Greene, baritone, world traveler, opera singer, yet Holy Ghost filled, honey. He don't mind going in if he has to. This is your girl, Evangelist Freddie Jones, and I have my co-host here,
Elder Stacy.
We just want to thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Unplugged Church Edition. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Make sure you share this with someone. This is time, decisions, as he said. The decision is yours. Yes. What are you going to do with it? All right. So we love you, Sugar Plums. Thank you for joining in. Love you guys. Mwah.
Take care.
Give these amazing women a hand.
Give you a hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you for viewing and listening to Unplugged Church Edition. Remember to subscribe to both Spotify and YouTube. Don't forget, like, follow, and share on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again for listening to Unplugged Church Edition as we continue to have soulful conversations.